My bike's a little wet. It rained last night and I didn't put it in the garage. That was kind of dumb on my part. Remember to always ride for Moth. Yesterday I did a poll on my Instagram and I asked you guys what kind of video you guys wanted to see next from me. You guys were pretty kind of close with everything, but for the most part everyone mostly wanted a video about what it was like for me to get into riding as a girl, my personal experiences, things like that. So that is what today's video is going to be about. Alrighty. So what was it like for me to get into riding and get into bikes as a girl? Overall, I'm going to preface this by saying that it has been a relatively positive experience for me with content creation, getting into bikes, learning how to ride, things like that. All has been a pretty overall positive thing. A lot of these are just like my personal experience, my personal opinion on things, stuff like that. I can't really like pinpoint what exactly got me into bikes. I've always thought that they were super cool. I've always wanted to do it. My boyfriend rides, so it definitely, like, when we got back together and everything, it made me want to ride more. Seeing him riding, it kind of pushed me to want to do it more, because now I had someone who would be able to teach me one-on-one. In my personal opinion, it's hard for me to kind of just learn in a group setting. Like, I need one-on-one time because I get a lot of performance anxiety in a group setting. So that's just me personally. Some people do really well in group settings, some people don't, and I'm just one of those people who don't. So having someone to one-on-one teach me was a huge help in my learning experience. A great tip is going to be to go to a class. So what were my classes like? How were the people in my classes? Was there any other girls? So in my class there was probably about 15 people that were divided up into 2 days, Saturdays and Sundays. Every Wednesday was our in-class, note-taking, test-taking type stuff. And then Saturday and Sundays were our riding days. I think I was on the Saturdays. I'm gonna make it. Alrighty. And there were 2 other girls in my class. The one I didn't get a chance to really talk to too much. The other one, she was in my riding class as well, so I got to interact with her a lot more. I obviously went to class in an area that I live in, so I did get to kind of find some people who, like, I didn't really know personally, but knew other people that I knew, so it was like mutual, like, kind of like, oh, I know that dude too. Everyone was super nice in my class. Everyone was super helpful, kind. There was there was 2 people in my class, in my riding portion, who were experienced in riding. Anyways, there was 2 people in my class that were experienced riders. The one other girl, but she hadn't ridden in like 10 years she hadn't ridden. So she's definitely wanted to kind of learn it all over again, was kind of the reason she went to a class. And then another guy who was pretty experienced, he just was like, you know, I just kind of take these classes so I can get lower insurances. Since in the state of PA, just a fun fact, side note, in the state of PA, MSF courses are free. The state pays for those. Anyways, so yeah, obviously there wasn't a lot of girls in my class. I was one of 3 out of the whole class. All the guys were super, super nice. They were all very, you know, a lot of these people, they start riding dirt bikes and things like that, and they want to get to learn to ride and everything. So all very helpful, all very kind. Did not have a bad experience in my class whatsoever. And I continued to practice after the fact, because I was practicing learning to ride before my classes, but I still continued after, because I wasn't 210% confident to go out on the road and actually go ride. So my boyfriend would take me to parking lots and continue to practice with me, and then I started riding at night on the road with reduced traffic. Then I finally kind of gradually worked my way up to, you know, doing this kind of daily commuting, being with rush hour traffic, things like that. Anyways, getting to my next point. There's a very big difference between in-person interactions and online interactions that you're gonna get, you know, being in the community, things like that. As a girl, as a guy, you know, just even in any community that you're a part of, there's differences online than in person and vice versa. I'll start with like online. I did start content creation whenever I started riding to kind of take you guys along for my journeys and things like that. And so far, everyone's been very, very, very supportive. I've gotten to meet a lot of other girl bike content creators, girl riders in my area, things like that. I have not had a chance to ride with any of the girls in my area, unfortunately. But I also work 7 days a week, so it's hard for me to kind of carve out some time to go be a part of a ride, things like that. I haven't gotten to ride with any of the girls in my area yet, but you meet a lot more of them online than you do in person. Holy shit. You meet a lot more girl riders online than you do in person. Now, what is the community like online versus in person? The community online, I feel like, is very varied. You have one part that is extremely supportive, you know, loves helping out other riders, also very supportive of girl riders. You have a lot of people who are just very supportive of girl riders, because there isn't a lot of us that, you know, ride motorcycles and everything like that, because it is a male-dominated hobby. Like, we can't not deny that fact. It is a male-dominated hobby. So most of the time, someone dropped their taco. It's like a whole ass tortilla with lettuce and everything. That had to ruin someone's day there. Anyways, online's very varied. There's not a lot of girl riders. It is a male-dominated hobby. We can all kind of admit that. Now, the interactions that you'll have with guys, they vary, honestly. Some are, like I said, very, very supportive. They want other girls to learn how to ride. They don't want to, like, gatekeep their hobby, things like that. And then there is some guys that are like, why the f are you riding? Like, I have gotten a few comments like that, like, oh, I think someone said to me one time, riding is the most unfeminine thing you can do. And I was like, okay. Then you also have people who don't have big egos about stuff and want to encourage other people to ride like they do. Those are the best people. But then you also have some bikers who like to do the argument of small CC bikes versus big CC bikes. If you pay attention to, like, the riding community, anything like that, you will see that a lot. Just like people kind of like being like, oh, if you have under 600cc, don't talk to me. Like, just dumb stuff like that. Most of it is kind of just jokes. You know, most people are just kind of joking, but some people are serious. Some people, like, don't with smaller CC bikes. They don't like them in ride-outs. They don't want to acknowledge them, things like that. People will be like, well, why didn't you start out with the 600? Because I didn't want to. It's not that big of a deal. It's just a personal preference. Also online, there's a lot of communities out there. Like, I'm a part of a lot of Facebook groups, like Facebook groups for my bike, Facebook groups for just, like, girl riders in different areas, things like that. Every platform is a little bit different, you know, because every platform has its own, like, guidelines and things like that. One thing I've noticed is, so TikTok isn't a big fan of pushing biker content out there, like with riding, stunting, things like that, but they do like people like kind of over sexualizing themselves. Something I've noticed is that there's a lot of male and female creators who, you know, tend to over sexualize themselves. In my personal opinion, again, this is my personal opinion, I don't have any hate towards those people. It's just, like, not me. You know, I've even had people ask me, like, well, why don't you just, like, post yourself, like, on your bike? Like, you know, get all dressed up and stuff. And I'm like, that's just not me personally. Like, I like taking pictures on my bike. Like, don't get me wrong. But that's just not what my content's about. And that's not what keeps you guys watching my content either, is the hopes that I will have, like, some video of me, like, dry humping my bike. And overall, I personally had a positive experience online with getting to know people, reaching a larger community, inspiring other people. I get these really sweet comments from you guys saying that watching me ride and, like, coming, like, along with my journey and watching me learn more has inspired you to want to ride a bike of your own. Because we all know I'm 5'2", I have a lowered bike and everything like that. Like, I am not tall by any means. Oh, I severely messed up. Oh my god. So I've been avoiding this road because they're doing a lot of construction and they have it completely torn up. So yeah, I've had a positive experience online between interacting with the community, interacting with followers, things like that. I see a lot more people who want to comment and act like they need to teach this person how to ride. And I will say, I do see it a lot more with like people commenting on girls' posts being like, you need to do XYZ, like you're doing this wrong. I do tend to see it with more girls. People are saying like that they're riding wrong, things like that. And also, I've also noticed, now this is kind of a controversial topic, but the gear police. I think there is a little bit of a bias with gear police too. I feel like a lot of the times you'll see a guy wearing a muscle shirt and joggers riding a bike, and people are like, oh my god, so hot, yada yada yada, whatever. Gear police seem to kind of come after girls because like a girl could be kind of wearing the same thing, like a tank top and joggers, and guys will kind of be like, they'll be like, you need to wear gear, you know, just for the ride, not like just for the slide, not the ride. You know, a lot of the times it is more so, they're not saying that on guys' posts, they're saying it more on girls' posts. Either way, what the f is Johnstown doing out here? Okay, just for reference, that's a Johnstown cop. I'm in almost Adamsburg, right? Another one? Johnstown's an hour away from where I'm at right now. Alrighty, back to business. In-person interactions, I get people who are really sweet, who are like, that's so sick that you ride. People like to wave, say hi. They like to talk to you. I've had a nice, sweet little old lady. She came up to me and she was like, it's a big bike for a little girl, but you make it look good. Like, or I'll have people come up to me and say, you know, like, ride safe, like, I'm looking out for you. I've had people, you know, mind my space. I've been caught in the rain a couple times, and I've had, you know, people get behind me and kind of give me some room to make sure that, you know, I'm safe, they're safe, you know, everyone's safe in the interaction. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's been a positive experience. I think the key takeaways, honestly, if you're a girl wanting to get into riding, one, do it. Do what makes you happy. If that's something you want to get into, do it. Riding isn't for everybody. Like, you don't ride because you want to look cool or like, you know, things like that. It is a fucking cool thing. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, I look sick as hell in this thing. But don't do it just for that. Do it because you wanna, this is what you want to do, this is a hobby you want to pursue. Like, don't do it because you want to like impress other people or do it for the sake of someone else. Unless you're like, you know, I don't know, you guys know what I mean. But, and then also recognizing it is a male dominated sport, so most of the time you're gonna have a lot more interactions with men in the community than you will have women, unless you kind of seek it out online. There is a lot more male riders than female, obviously. With anything that's a male dominated field, hobby, things like that, you're gonna get, you know, kind of different interactions. You're gonna get positive ones, you might get negative ones. To each their own. You're gonna experience an array of things. I would say that the positive experiences that I've had have greatly outweighed my negative experiences. I will say that. So I'm gonna kind of end the video with just like some basic like tips, things like that. So tip when it comes to trying to find the bike for you, definitely go look at some of them, talk to friends who have bikes, things like that. Like I said in the beginning of the video, the easiest way for me to learn to ride was actually learning one-on-one with someone. Get a friend who's willing to ride with you, take you out to some parking lots at night, and help you learn to ride. Because honestly, and I've said this before, classes aren't going to be your final learning. It's just going to give you a basics of how to operate, things like that. You're going to learn more by going out there, practicing yourself, being out on the road. So having a friend to kind of help you, teach you one-on-one, to ride with you on the road or drive behind you to kind of make sure you're safe is always a big benefit. choosing your bike, it's all about what you're personally looking for. Every bike has a different purpose. There's sport bikes, there's adventure bikes, scooters. I'll have Matt just put it up an array of different kinds of bikes you can get. It's all about what you're looking for. I always say, because a lot of people ask me like, what's a good beginner bike? I'm a beginner myself. This is my very first bike, things like that. And I would honestly say like my bike is a very good beginner bike if that's something you're looking for. Like I said before, I've lowered my bike. I have a lot of people ask me like, what should I do as a short rider? You can shave your seat, you can lower it. I've personally really liked lowering it. Some people say it affects the bike's capability. I don't think it's affected anything on my bike really. I think it rides exactly the same as it did whenever it was too tall for me to tiptoe, basically. Smaller CC bikes, bigger CC bikes, get what you want, be safe, understand, you know, what kind of machine you're operating, have respect for your bike, because at the end of the day, people are going to tell you what they think you should start out with and what they think you should ride. And I think it honestly just comes down to personal preference, what you want to ride, because at the end of the day, it's your money that you're spending. So do I think that 17-year-olds should have leader bikes? No, not all the time, but they might be able to handle it better than I can. But like I said, at the end of the day, it's your money. What you choose to do with your money, what you think is a worthy investment, again, that's all up to you. Those are probably my key points and my takeaways. I don't really know if this video is gonna be really helpful for any new riders, things like that, but I hope it is. I'm gonna stop and get a Red Bull real quick. Overall, pretty positive experience. I haven't witnessed a lot of negativity, but there is negativity out there. There's misogyny out there. There's different stuff out there. But for the most part, the biker community is a big, you know, open community that's there to support you for what you want to do. Look at how dirty my bike is. So dirty. Well, we had a fun talk today. Alrighty.